Over the past few years, Surrons and other e-bikes in the size category of the Surron have been dominating the scene, and there's a few reasons why the popularity of these bikes have been growing and growing. One of the reasons these bikes have become so popular is the size and the agility of the bike, and we know this is a fact as the Surron is replicated again and again by all of these new companies bringing bikes into the scene. So for most of the average height riders, the Surron is the perfect size, but for people like myself who are just on that 6 foot limit, the Surron height can become a little bit awkward, especially after making modifications which changes the geometry of the bike. So because the Surron has been out for such a length of time, this has given people time to really ride the bike and find out what works best for the Surron for the different heights of riders. And there is now more modifications on the market than ever to adjust the geometry of a Surron to make it more suitable for the taller riders. Some of the modifications available to do on the Surron to change the geometry and the rider height are things like riser handlebars, which can raise the height of the handlebars for a more comfortable position for people with longer arms or for higher torsos. You can buy foot peg mounts, which actually allow you to drop the height of the foot pegs, allowing for a bit more leg room for the taller riders, so the legs are further stretched down rather than being so cramped up and tight. But the most popular modification to the Surron to raise that rider height is actually the seat lift kit, and that is exactly what we've got here today. So this seat lift kit is one that I purchased from AliExpress. It's a modification that I've been so reluctant to do on my Surron for so much time. I thought that the rider height was actually borderline okay for somebody of 6 foot, but when I get back on friends' Surrons and I feel the seat height of a stock Surron seat, again, I've made modifications to my Surron which has actually made it slightly lower. So when I get back on a stock Surron, I feel that seat height and I think, this is how my bike used to feel, and I prefer it being that bit taller. So that's what's persuaded me to try the seat lift kit out. So in today's video, we're going to be fitting the riser seat kit for my Surron, and we're going to be testing out the new rider height compared to this lowered, altered rider height that I'm currently running at. So let's get straight into it. Like mentioned, I bought this seat rising kit from AliExpress. This one is identical to a number of different kits that I saw online, so I went ahead and ordered the AliExpress special, so we'll actually see the quality of this seat lift kit as well as what it actually changes on the bike. Taking a look at the actual seat rising kit, it comes with all different types of spacers and brackets that are going to assist in rising the seat on the Surron. All the brackets I've got are in black with this sort of chrome CNC cutout. I have no idea what metal this is actually made out of as well, so it'll be a good test to see how strong this seat lift kit is compared to others on the market as well. As well as all the brackets and spacers, the kit does provide you with a bag of bolts, so hopefully this should be everything we need to get this bolted onto the Surron today. This kit came with no instructions, so the first thing I did was hold up the brackets to the bike to try and figure out where each piece would fit, and it turns out it was pretty self-explanatory. Once I'd figured out how the brackets are meant to fit onto the bike, I could then start removing the subframe, which is held in by 4 Allen key bolts. We also need to remove this plastic cover, which is held in by 1 Allen key bolt on either side. Because we're actually lifting the seat up, I had to remove these 2 bolts from the rear rubber mud flap as well. Once they were removed, I then went to the battery compartment and removed the last 2 bolts needed to gain full access to the subframe. Then we could remove the seat and the subframe, but being careful because there's still cables attached to the bike. Now it's a simple case of taking the new brackets and reinstalling them back onto the bike in reverse order. And with the first big bracket attached to the bike, we could then take the smaller bracket and also start to install that to the bike. This is all really self-explanatory. With the main part of the seat lift kit now fitted to the bike, we could take some of the nuts and bolts that are provided with the kit and start to reinstall the rest of the bike. This part of the installation consists of lining up all of the bolt holes from the original subframe to the new kit that we just fitted onto the bike. With all the holes lined up and the bolts pushed through, we could then move on to tightening them up by using the nuts on the rear of the bolts. And taking the smaller bolt provided, we can also reinstall that plastic casing. That was then half of the kit installed and it was looking good already. Then it was just a simple case of move to the other side of the bike and repeat the process. So we've now got the main parts of the seat kit fit on the bike, and it was mainly just a load of bolts, a few nuts, and that has now risen the seat height quite nicely. But there are 1 or 2 things now that we have to tackle to get this seat kit fully working with the bike. One of the problems we need to fix now is the latch on the battery lid, and that's because when we put the seat riser kit on, it doesn't just move the seat up, it actually moves the seat back as well. So with the seat moving back, that means that the latch position has now changed from where the battery lid used to sit to a bit further back. But of course, the kit does come with the pieces needed to make this all work, and we have the latch spacer here, so this will move the latch from being in a forward to a more further back position. Because I've actually installed a 72 volt battery to my bike, we have actually had to put a spacer kit already on the battery lid, which raised the height of the battery lid. So that consists of 2 hinge spacers that go at the front, and then this big battery wedge that sits at the back. There should now be enough room that we can remove this spacer and go back to the original setup, but instead use this piece here just to move that latch further back. So the next job we're going to tackle is fitting this latch to the battery lid. The latch is attached to the underneath of the battery lid by these 2 bolts here. This is the spacer provided for the 72 volt battery that I just removed. And this is the spacer that we are now reinstalling to the bike. This spacer doesn't only hold the latch for the battery lid, but it also has a spacing block in order to wedge in stock batteries. This will work with the 72 volt battery and the stock battery. So that is the whole seat kit now actually fully bolted onto the bike, and considering I didn't have any instructions or any idea how that actually was supposed to go together, I don't think we did too badly. But there's still one more problem that I need to sort out on the bike now, and that is that my rubber flap that I use to stop mud and everything else gathering inside of the rear shock is now not long enough to bolt into the swing arm how it used to, so I'm going to have to take this flap off, unfortunately, and all of this of the bike is now going to be open, which I'm not sure I'm going to like too much. I like to have this flap to stop all of the dirt, debris and everything else getting in there. I also don't have a jack shaft cover on the bike at the minute as well, so that will leave my belt and chain completely open to the elements. So I might have to do something with that, but for now we're just going to remove it and get it completely off the bike. So already I am looking forward to getting out on this bike and giving it a ride now we have got this seat lift kit on it. But as usual, the darkness is coming in the UK. We are going to have to wait till tomorrow to get some proper filming done on this bike, so let's fast forward till tomorrow. So we are out on the bike to test out this seat riser kit, and it's already been a bit of a muddy start as expected. Welcome to the UK winter time, but we're going to get out and we're really going to see what effects this seat riser kit has to the Surron. And I did a bit of research last night. I went back to the link where I got this seat riser kit from, and supposedly this seat lift kit rises the seat by 2 inches, so around 50 millimeters. And I've got some other boys here today so we can put the bikes next to each other and compare the sizes of the seats. I was actually going to measure it so we could actually see the height difference between the floor and the seat, but I forgot my measuring tape, so we're just gonna have to do it by eye. But it should be a good day and we'll test this seat kit out. We are out on the bikes. It is sunny. Let's go. Finally. UK winter time, not normally playing nice with us, but today we got a little treat. And today we're at a friend of mine's private, I don't even know what you would call all of this. So it is the perfect place for us to come out and test this seat rising kit. We've travelled a few hours to come and see this place, so should be a good day out. And already the difference I'm noticing with this seat kit is insane. Originally this wasn't an upgrade that I wanted to do. I wouldn't say that I was a hater on the seat lift kits, because I didn't mind them. Some people put them on the bikes and they looked a bit stupid, but some of them I didn't mind. And I just didn't think it was an upgrade that I personally needed. But now I've done it, this is my first 10 minutes on the bike today. Definitely worth it already. It has changed this bike. I mean, we'll see how it compares when we ride a few different terrains today, see if it gets in the way or see if it changes the bike for the worst. And there's definitely going to be some pros and cons to it, but so far, first impressions within the first 10-15 minutes of riding, I am loving the new riding position. My feet and my legs feel at a much nicer angle coming down the bike. I am sat at a much nicer angle. I do feel slightly up and over the bars now, but I think that's actually a good thing, because normally you want to lead with your head when riding a bike, so that's actually a positive. It's moved my riding position a little bit more aggressive, so we'll see how we get on today. And Jay thinks he's found somewhere interesting already. It's getting gnarly already, definitely getting gnarly already. We definitely started off in the right place. One thing I'm noticing already is at my normal standing position when I'm stood up to ride this sort of stuff, I can still feel that my bum is literally just bouncing off that seat a bit. I'm not sure if it's a good or a bad thing at the minute, but it feels alright. It's getting mega technical already. First trail in. Oh, coming in a bit hot. Getting donkeyed over some of these. It is hairy, techy riding today. I mean, I've not really done much sitting down on this. I don't think you can sit down while riding this. Yep. So, first trail in. Obviously we didn't do much sitting down, but it's the in-between parts like now where you're riding from bit to bit that we're going to notice the benefits of this seat rise kit. So it'd be interesting to know if there is different height seat rising kits. I know there's seat lowering kits, but I don't know about other seat rising kits. I don't know if there's different sizes, whether you can get extra tall ones or medium size ones. I've only really seen the one size, and I even had to have a look and see how much that actually rose it up. I just knew that it was a seat rising kit, so that's what I bought. But it would be interesting to know if they do sort of extra large ones, medium ones, and so on.
Jungle, boy.
Welcome to the jungle, baby. Do you know where you are? You're in the jungle, baby. Now I've got loads of torque sat on my bike at the minute. Whoa, and I'm hitting tree logs. Oh, this is what I didn't want, man. As soon as you as soon as you lose traction, hill climbs are a nightmare. And these lot are just going to float up on their stock power, but because I'm supercharged, as soon as I lose traction, that's it. It's gonna be hairy today, boys. Oh, there's gonna be so much of this. Buy a Surron, they said. It'll be fun, they said. What the? Oh, he's decked it. It's so slippy on the logs, isn't it? Here we go, then straight back into it. Rocky beginnings. Crazy berms. I don't quite know what the crack is with this thing. Oh, even sat down just coming down bits like this, the seat lift kit is doing bits. The new geometry, the new angle, I like it, I'm a fan. And like I say, I'm borderline 6 foot with my platform shoes on, lol. I'm 6 foot, and the Surron, it was just that in between height of whether it was awkward or not awkward. And on the stock wheels, when I had that extra inch or two before putting that smaller rear wheel on, I felt the bike was a nice height. But as soon as I put the rear wheel on, even though you don't lose a lot of height because the tyre makes up for the difference in the rim, you only lose literally an inch or two. As soon as I put that on the bike, I was like, it does feel small. Wow, this is crazy. So even when I lost that inch or two, whoa, we are getting tricky today. I'm wedged. Whew. Oh, this one's even steeper, man. I'm front flipping this, I'm telling you. There's no way around, really, is there? Oh, it's still tricky where I am now, though. I need that front wheel round. Oh, we've done it. Whew. It's treacherous today. I have recently seen another seat lift kit that rather than moving the seat back, it does just lift the seat up, so it's more convenient in that sense that you don't have to make any modifications to the battery lid or the latch. It literally just lifts everything up, and then the battery lid just sits at a weirder angle. So one of the things I do see mainly on Instagram when people do a Surron build and they put the seat riser kit on and they've got an upgraded battery that sits a fair bit taller in the bike, they still use the battery spacer as well as the seat lift kit. And I mean, they obviously don't know that it must be compatible without it, and I'm sure that some batteries aren't compatible without using that spacer still. But you see people use the spacer with the seat lift kit, not knowing that there's just a massive gap of nothing where the battery could fill it up if you just take that spacer out and it still work. Because that's the way the seat lift comes and that's the way the battery kit comes, and they're both separate. People don't think put two and two together and they'll both combine together to work. I always think it looks really goofy when people use the seat lift kit as well as that battery spacer, and there's just like an 1.5 inch, 2 inch gap above the battery. It just looks really quite cheesy. It just looks off, doesn't look right. Wow. Wow. Woo. Mega hill climbs. That's how you kill some battery though, going uphill. Smoked them. So we can almost sort of compare the size of my bike next to Jay's bike behind, and although it's sort of a hard comparison because the floor's not dead level, you can slightly see there is a bit of a rise from my bike to his. When you come around this side, it definitely looks a lot higher, but again, we're on uneven ground, so it's definitely hard to tell really if it's higher. Plus he's got the 19-inch wheels with a 3.0 size tyre on it, so his rear wheel setup is going to add a bit more size to his bike already. So if he did the seat lift kit, his seat would actually sit higher than my seat is right now. Because I've got that 16-inch rear wheel, the seat is actually sitting lower but still a lot higher than I had it, if that makes any sense. But compared to what a stock Surron setup would be in front of us, there's definitely a slight bit of rise. And the last way we could tell is by looking at the back, and so we should be able to see there is a slight rise on my bike compared to Jay's stock bike. Again, both bikes are at a little bit of an angle, leaning into each other. We definitely know it's added some height to my bike, because to get the rear mud flap on, I've actually had to extend the rear mud flap, and I'm glad it's dirty because you haven't seen the bodge job that I've done on this thing. But this is where the flap ended, so I needed another 2 inches to get to the holes where the flap bolts into the bike. So my make do solution for now to stop any of the dirt getting into the shock, which is working great by the way, I cut an old piece of inner tube to the size, the width of the flap that I already had on. I extended it at the size I needed, and then I cut holes and I bolted it underneath the mud through here like normal. So I extended my mud flap with a piece of inner tube that I have zip tied together, and it actually turned out a treat. It is a bodge job all over. I definitely need to do something more permanent, but for today, to get this riding and not get my bike filthy underneath the seat, this has turned out an absolute treat. So the saga continues of the seat lift kit testing. I've got a very noisy back brake. I've got a feeling my brake pads are on metal because I haven't changed them for ages, but it still works, so we'll go with it. Oh my god, getting straight into it, nearly deep in the bog, as my good old mate Jam Slag would say. Oh, and that was straight into the bog. Whoa, 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 whoa. I'm picking the awful lines right now. Catching me off guard big time. But I am actually getting some moments in where I can sit down on the seat, even on these downhill areas, and we can feel that difference in the height. And again, so far I am a big fan of the kit. I really didn't think I would be. I thought I might not like the new adjustments, and so far I've been proven wrong. I bet the camera is not doing today any justice either on how steep and crazy some of this stuff actually is. Like, look at it, look at it. The views are crazy, and with it being so wet in the UK, traction is non-existent. That is a fresh one. That tree has come down recently, bro. How do we always end up on the sketchiest trails? So even now I'm sat down just so comfortably, my feet and legs are at a perfect angle now. Definitely a win going for the new seat kit. And like I mentioned earlier, I'm sure in the videos, there is the option to get the seat lowering kit. So if you are a smaller rider and you find your Surron is already too big, instead of buying new wheels and having to go down that route, you can actually buy the seat lowering kit, which I'm sure does move it back as well, but also lowers it to a nicer height. So there is the option of going smaller with the seat kits as well as higher. And I'll be honest, these kits for the Surrons are just sort of getting crazy these days. Ooh, that was sketchy. I've seen literally the whole frame extension kits for Surrons, so you can extend the whole frame. I've seen swing arm extension kits. I've even seen snowmobile kits on YouTube before. So nothing surprises me on what you can do with these bikes. The alterations and the mods are just endless, which is another reason why I think Surron will remain one of the most popular e-bikes in the country going forward for a good number of years. I don't see anybody making these kits for even Talaria, who are big in the game now. You don't get all the modifications that you do with the Surron with the Talaria. So I thought that riding SX Works at the Surron Supercross track was hard work and probably the hardest I've ever ride my bike, but I think I've been proven wrong. Downhill Surron riding is now probably the newest, hardest bit of riding that I've definitely had to do. The RFLOXA suspension is coming in so clutch as well. My forks have just felt a treat, and obviously the XT rear shock's always just amazing, but the RFLOXA Pro front forks, so good. You gotta get in the ruts and just stick with it, I think. I took the easy option on that one, I think. Whoa, 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 whoa! Oh my god, there is no easy option on that one. Jesus Christ! This is mental. There's just no traction whatsoever. You're either sliding and gliding or a little bit of throttle. Whew. Oh my god, we've come out alive. Somehow we've come out. Look at that is absolutely ridiculous. Oh, Stephen's gone down, look. Roger's on his way. Well, in the wrong way then. Need some handlebars up. Try standing up a bit more. I'm creasing. My handlebars are left. Oh, bro, look up! Yo, that was tight. So was that. How that didn't hit my bash guard, I'll never know. That's probably the next problem I need to sort out, which will actually counterbalance against the seat relift kit. Is sometimes I feel like my pegs are too low to the floor, and when I land heavy on some big jumps, I can feel my pegs almost literally hit the floor. I can feel my heels hit the floor, and it literally feels like you're gonna slam your ankles and like just snap in half almost. So it gets a bit crazy. So I would like my pegs to be a bit higher, but obviously that then counterbalances the new rider position that I've just given myself by putting the seat lift kit on. That will obviously make the pegs higher, which makes that leg angle just a bit tighter again. Finally getting to some faster bits of the trails. That was definitely a bash guard slapper though. Not too much impact, but it was a slapper nonetheless. Woo, woo, woo. Okay, I'll go that way. I didn't make that decision. Yes, boys. Whoo! Pow, pow. Bluetooth. Pop. So overall I definitely think it was worth installing this seat rising kit for somebody my height or even a little bit taller. If you are thinking that your bike is a little bit small, I'd definitely recommend giving the seat rise kit a go. With all that being said and done, if you've enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up button. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. I'm Matt Francis signing out. Peace.